Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Financial Planning Explained. I'm your host, Mike Menninger, certified financial planner, founder and owner of Menninger Associates Financial Planning. Here we go again with not really a specific topic. We're all over the map. I got a friend of mine here by the name of Mike Eckenrode. He is a professional land surveyor. He's been working for Hanover Engineering probably since before they made dirt. Did they make dirt or did they invent dirt?
I think dirt was around. Wheels were square, but dirt.
All right, okay. Before they rounded them off.
Yeah.
Good to Mike. He's looking to retire pretty soon here. And then one of the other things that he does is he's a minority owner in a golf course. So we're going to talk about today is a little bit on the land surveying, a little bit on, approaching retirement, and talk about golf course management, if there is such thing, if you know anything about it, even though you're the owner and you're there.
Very little bit about it. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Wish we could have got here a little earlier, but
yeah, you know what? It happens.
Sometimes.
You made it.
Sometimes it does happen.
Anyway, so tell me what you do over there at Hanover. So how long have you been there?
At Hanover, I'll be there 34 years in about a month.
34? Whoa, dude.
34.
So
I started in 87, June 1st, 87.
All right, so that wasn't your first job?
No. It was my third survey job. I had a 3-month job, a 9-month job, and then jumped into Hanover and have been there ever since.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Dude, that's a long time. 34 years? You just don't see that anymore.
No, I know it's unusual. Actually, at Hanover, we have a lot of guys that have worked there quite a long time, and it's nice for consistency.
Well, yeah, not only that, but I mean, it's just, I don't know, it says something about the company. If the company has a lot of people who have been there forever. The guys who own the place now, were they the owners when you started?
No. Jim Birdsall was the original owner and developer of Hanover Engineering. He hired me one day a long time ago.
34 years.
34 years ago. I walked in work clothes, and he hired me on the spot, which I was always grateful for. But no, the management has changed. Jim has retired now and is off doing what he wants to do, and management is now different.
Yeah, so is Hanover named after a person or a location?
We are in Hanover Township, Lehigh County, Northampton County, and
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I'm not really sure that's why it's named that, but I'm not sure I ever really asked Jim why he named it that.
Well, if it's in Hanover Township, then...
Yeah, and we are the township engineers for Hanover Township.
Oh, there you go.
So. Actually, there's a Hanover Township, Lehigh, and Northampton. We are Northampton.
So how many people work there?
Probably around 60.
Oh, that many? Oh, I didn't realize that.
Almost a lot of professionals, engineers, surveyors, inspectors, designers.
So what type of engineering do they do over there?
Civil engineering.
All right, so basically you're basically developers? Not developers.
No, we work for developers.
Right, okay.
We design subdivisions, stormwater management systems, sanitary systems.
Actually, okay.
The full realm of subdivision.
Okay.
From a piece of bare land to a housing development or a building, an industrial park.
Okay.
We've done both.
So you got to figure all of the wetland stuff and the permitting, and so do you get
township regulations, zoning ordinances, which change from township to township, borough to borough.
So do you also get involved in developing, like literally, if I bought this big old plot of land of 50 acres, do you get involved in literally designing where the lots are?
Yeah.
Really?
That's what we do.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we take the developer's general idea and then we put it on paper, and they hash it out. They go back and forth a little bit, but you try to squeeze as many as you can. All the townships have different ordinances, like I said. So some will require X number of square feet per lot, and some will require 2 to 10 acres per lot. But a lot of places, you can go down to about a quarter acre and put a house on.
Well, yeah, of course. So I would imagine too, given all of the rules and regulations, et cetera. I mean, I got involved in this one time before, unexpectedly. with the developer buying a property and
Yep. It's a
you try to maximize the number of lots, because if you
Sure,
have a plot of land, as long as you can, design it, you want to get as many lots in there,
Yes.
because they make money on the house.
Right.
It's the selling, the building and the selling of the house. So you want to get as many in there.
right, and they got to put up all the money for buying the land, for then the survey, the design, the installation of all the utilities
Before they sell their first house.
before they sell their first house.
Right.
So these guys are dropping
Tens
tons
of
of
millions.
money
Yeah.
to get to selling that first house.
Right.
And everybody says, well, why are houses so expensive? The rules and regulations they make developers jump through these days are incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just expense after expense after expense.
I could see that. As you know, I just moved into a new house 3 years ago, and I see all the effort that goes into it. And heck, I'm looking at the plot of land and the layout a year before they even broke ground on the first anything.
Right. Before they got a penny back.
Yeah, so that's a lot of effort.
It is. It's an interesting business. It's gotten much more regulated over the years. Could be good, could be bad. I don't know. What I think it does is restrict less costs of housing. Housing has to go up because of all the processes you have to go through. Like you said, wetland mitigation, stormwater reviews,
Open space.
open space. There's a lot of different things that go into it.
Yeah, all right.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm on the front end of it as a land surveyor. I'll do the boundary on a parcel that they want to buy, and we'll do a quick reference of the whole parcel to see what's actually on it, if there's anything that they don't know about, sinkholes, garbage, anything like that. And then we'll do a topographical survey of the entire plot so they know the lay of the land, because they need that in order to develop roads, put in stormwater, put in sanitary, know where your utility connections are. The surveyor does all that at the beginning of the.
Right, okay. Well, I always wondered, especially in the old days, I'd done surveying before myself.
Kind of scary.
Actually, it's not hard.
No, it's not.
I mean, you had the scope sitting on the tripod, and you're looking
No, I
through,
wish
and you
more
have the
kids
guy
would get
over
into
there. It's just a simple thing. You got to understand it, and the thing that I always wondered is, like, when I'm standing here and I shoot it over and I see all I was surveying was elevation.
Right.
Okay, I wasn't surveying,
Right, you're using a level.
Right. What do I do if I can't see that?
Well, you pick up and you go somewhere else.
Well, you can't see
move
it.
Your part.
Well, I'm thinking you guys do this in the woods.
Yeah.
Like an undeveloped plot of land, 50 acres. How in the world? Like, let's go back 30 years, because you guys now have GPS and all that stuff, right?
And GPS doesn't work very well in the woods. It's getting better, but GPS, once you get into the woods, you basically have to throw it away. So we would do more traditional surveying, which is total station and 2 guys, maybe 3 guys, and traverse through the woods. I mean, if I have to go 100 feet because it's so dense, stick a point in the ground, shoot that, set up on that, go another 100 feet. That's what I have to do.
But then
and
how
we've
do
done
you
that
get
many.
how do you get the location? You have to use for spotting the location. It just without GPS, I don't know how you do it.
In the old days, it would be finding monumentation and then referring it to its original deed, or
Monumentation. What do you mean by that?
corner monumentation. So an iron pin on your corner, a concrete monument for your corner.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you're going out and doing a property out in the middle of nowhere,
Right, but they're all
what's your
tied to
framework?
roads.
Well, they're tied to what?
To roads usually.
Okay.
They're not landlocked pieces. So if it's tied to a road and I can't find any monumentation, I might just take a shot down that road and know that road is a certain bearing. And then from there, we're consistent with ourselves, so we know where everything is in relation to what we did.
Right.
So we don't necessarily have to have, exact starting points. Today, it makes it easier, and we are on national systems now. Almost
Right.
all of our projects go directly to national systems.
And so
That's GPS. as
That's
we
right,
refer
right,
to it.
right. And that's so you can use GPS in the middle of thick, dense woods. Then
No.
you can't.
No, we would go outside those thick, dense woods, find a place where we can use it.
Right.
Set 2 points so we know where we are, and then you set on one, sight the other one,
Right.
and turn off and go.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So once you turn off and you got an angle and a distance, you can go to the next point and the next point and the next point.
Okay. Now, what do you do in rocky areas? I mean, you're going to obviously get fluctuations in elevations. You just try to get the closest thing to level.
Yeah. You walk the whole property. You try to get the swales, the ups, the downs, the rocky surfaces, the edge of the woods. There's a ton of stuff that has to be done in it.
Yeah. Well, and then also once they clear the land, you almost have to survey it again because they're changing elevations.
Well, we're telling them how to clear that land. I mean, once the surveyor gets done with his initial thing, they develop the land and they say, okay, now we're going to start building. Now that's a new phase. That's the construction phase. And the first guy they talk to is the land surveyor. And the land surveyor comes in and sets out stakes and says, okay, this is where you clear for the road, dig the road in. This is where you're going to take these woods down and put the pond in, the stormwater management facilities. We tell them everything. We tell them where the stormwater goes, where the sanitary, where the potable water goes. We tell them where everything goes.
Right, based on a site map that someone created, based on your original survey, they said, all right, this is what we're going to do, is we're going to put the roads, everything else. Those are your design engineers, and then all of a sudden, you now go back to that property and say, all right, this is where all these spots are.
Right.
Okay.
And a construction company then has control of the site, and they call me and say, okay, I need to know where my clearing is, okay, and I need to know where my road goes in, and then they'll rough cut it in, because they're going to change the elevation of what's there to what they need for the future. Right. And they try to what's called balance the site. So they don't want to make cuts into the site and have a whole bunch of dirt left over. They want to, believe me, it happens all the time.
Oh, I know, I lived it.
Right, so, and they got to take the topsoil, put the topsoil off to the side.
Because they want to reuse the topsoil.
They're going to reuse the topsoil, but when you cut roads in and then you're digging in utilities, you have a lot of extra dirt that you're
right.
So we try to balance the entire site so that very little either comes off or they have to go get dirt. They don't want to do that.
Right, because it's costly to get dirt, and it's also costly to get rid of it. I mean, the dirt itself, but it's cost for the transportation and the...
And it's with rules and regulations, it's getting harder and harder to move dirt from one side to another. Yeah.
Why? Environmental?
Environmental, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you got to know where your dirt comes from, and you got to have it tested so there's nothing... apple orchards is a good example of that.
Yeah, because they have all the pesticides and herbicides and arsenic.
Plus, in the apples, there's arsenic. So an apple orchard over decades and decades builds a lot of poisons in the ground.
Yeah.
Well, once they go to develop that particular piece of ground, they can't just take that dirt anywhere and use it anywhere. They either have to use it on the site because it's full of arsenic.
Oh, of course, of course. But did you know that if you are twice the environmental standard, like if arsenic is 10, the limit's 10, and your pile of dirt is 20, what you do is take 2 piles of dirt, mix it in, and now it's less.
Right.
Because dilution is the solution to pollution.
That is correct. Don't say that out loud too many places. But,
well, at least just don't say that on camera or where it might be recorded.
Boy, I could tell you stories. But we won't go there right now.
Well, no, I want to hear stories.
No, I can't tell some
of the stories, but you got good stories. I mean, I believe me, I spent 12 years in the environmental engineering, and I've got stories. But aside from, call it the illegal stories, you got to have had good stories.
Well, I worked with a company called LVIP, Lehigh Valley Industrial Park, that redeveloped the Bethlehem Steel site in South Bethlehem.
Oh, yeah. Well, we say redeveloped to what it is now.
1,600 acres or so. They took it, and we did that. We did a full survey of the site, and that one we probably had flown to get contours on it. A whole different story. But we developed the whole industrial park, and then we staked it out also with LVIP's help.
That's easier though.
But the Bethlehem Steel, when they were there, they had. They had a lot of environmental issues, and there were a lot of things that were very bad. They had a coke works, and and they had some of their storm water that would go to creeks that were fairly good, so they had to make sure that water was fairly clean. And this is back in the 20s and 30s, when they were just developing this stuff, where they didn't know as much as they know today. But they also ran some to the Lehigh River because this project fronts the Lehigh River. So they would take that to the some storm to the Lehigh River, because it was a bigger river, had more volume flowing through it. So
Right.
it could put different things into the Lehigh as opposed to the Saucon.
It's supposed to the what?
The Saucon Creek, which is the smaller creek,
yeah,
and is a better quality stream, and they have designations on streams these days, and it has to do with cold water trout. That's not one of my areas of expertise, so I don't know much about it, but they ran out one long storm line all the way probably 2 miles to get it to the Lehigh River. Through creeks, over hill, and stormwater is a gravity system.
Yeah, so it's got to be 1/8 of an inch per foot or something, or 1/8.
Well, whatever they decide to do.
Right.
1/8, that's not a standard plumber's grade is 1/4 inch per foot.
Okay.
0.2% or 2%, and but they did whatever they had to do to go from here to here, a mile away.
Yeah, it's a long ways.
With a bunch of manholes and inlets, and those are the storm structures and pipe, and take it the whole way out. That system still is active today.
Oh, cool. Well, guess what? So the timing right now is we're up on a break, which is a perfect example of where you move from one thing to another. Now we're done with surveying, and retirement date's coming up pretty darn soon. That's where you can just hang up your cleats or whatever, and then we'll move on to the next one. So what we'll do is we'll take a break for a moment for commercial, and we'll be right back.
Have you saved enough for retirement? Are you financially prepared for an emergency or unexpected event? Have you thought about your financial future?
Hi, I'm Mike Menninger, founder of Menninger Associates Financial Planning. For over 20 years, we have been answering our clients' questions just like these as we develop unique and comprehensive financial plans tailored to meet their needs. When addressing your financial plan, we incorporate your entire financial picture, including taxes, estate planning, as well as investment planning and retirement planning. So call us today for a complimentary, no obligation consultation.
A unique approach to financial planning.
Welcome back to Financial Plan and Explain. That break was perfect because now Mike's going to be taking a break, going from his career of 34 years as a surveyor, which is cool. I'm sure there's a lot of really cool stuff that we could talk about. We could probably do the whole episode on it, but we're going to move into another subject that I find to be kind of more inspiring to me. Well, actually, the whole concept of retiring is certainly probably more inspiring to you than it is to me. But congratulations to Mike, who's retiring in a couple months, and then you're going to drift off into the sunset. However, the sunset really includes you're going to be spending some time with the golf course, aren't you?
Right. I'm as you said before, a minority owner of Fox Hollow Golf Club in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Little 18-hole public course. We have a great greenskeeper, and we offer golf to whoever wants to come and play. Is that what golf course is? We also have a driving range, a putting green.
Yeah.
We have a bar and a restaurant.
Yeah.
All which are open to the public, obviously, hope to get people out there.
It's a whole lot different. And so for what it's worth, when you referenced, and I didn't realize this until just the time I just played it. I played it a couple times in the past, and I played with you a few weeks ago. But it's if you're going up the Northeast Extension, I saw a couple holes over there. I didn't realize that was Fox Hollow.
Right.
I had in my memory that it was somewhere different.
Right before the Quakertown exit on the northbound side of the Northeast Extension.
Right.
476.
They call
Fox
it the Pennsylvania Turnpike now, but so I played that course a bunch of years ago, and I'll tell you what, it's a good little course. Now, I remember because we were talking a bunch of years ago how you guys, and not just you guys, I remember personally as I golf, okay, and I swear that particular year it was raining every freaking weekend, and as a golf course owner, you knew that it was raining every weekend. What year was that? 2016?
It was 17 or 18.
Then not 18.
Probably 17.
Yeah, probably 17.
Yeah, it started raining in, I think, July, and basically didn't stop for the whole year. We basically lost the entire portion of the year, which course, if you're a golf course, that's really where you've paid off some of your bills. You're starting to possibly make some money, and we lost the entire second half of the year. It was a terrible year for golf courses and
All courses.
And one of the things you don't think about, okay, you can't go play when it rains, but after it's done raining, if your course is saturated, you can't allow the carts off the cart path.
Right.
And that, for the older golfers, that's a pretty big deal, where they have to walk across the course to get to their ball and hit it.
I'll tell you
so
what.
we lose play over that, too.
It's also slow play.
And it slows play down, yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
I honestly, I hate cart path only. I would almost not golf. So you're hitting
We
the
get
nail
that
on
all
the
the time.
Yeah, because you're right. Well, what happens is that if the cart path is on the left-hand side, you know full well where I'm hitting the ball. Completely on the other side.
Yeah, well.
And if the cart path's on the right side, I'm hitting it on the left. And it slows down play. You're doing a whole lot more walking. And, and you're right. The older
It's hard to
people,
maintain the course. We can't cut the grass when it's soaking wet.
Right.
And our particular course, we are in a low-lying area next to the Unami Creek.
Oh, is that what that creek is?
Yeah, and it's a fairly good-sized creek at that point. And when it floods, it comes up, and I've seen probably 6 holes covered in water, and in the floods.
Literally underwater.
Literally underwater, yeah.
So have you ever had damage to the course as a result of it?
We have 2 bridges down. Well, we have more than 2.
I remember the one bridge you were showing me.
2 main bridges. The one that goes to the 3T. That in one of the floods, that got knocked off its moorings, and we had to bring an excavator in to lift it back into place.
Did you know any surveyors that might have been able to help?
Well, I don't know any right offhand, but in that particular case, we didn't need a surveyor.
Yeah.
We just needed to put it back where it
Yeah,
should have
yeah.
been.
Well, it's a metal bridge too. It's not
a metal
easy.
bridge.
We
couldn't have jacked it into place or brought a
You
come
needed
along
heavy
in.
equipment.
We needed heavy equipment, and then you gotta, your cart path is only 5 feet wide. An excavator big enough to do that is 8 feet wide.
Right.
He's going to tear up the course all
Right,
the way down.
exactly. You know what?
It was a challenge.
And
that
when
year.
you're doing it, the ground is soft.
Yeah.
So,
And that actually ran into the next spring too. And that spring was the next spring, if it was 17, 18, or 16 into 17, the next spring we lost a lot of play because of it hadn't stopped raining yet.
oh really?
No.
Well, that wasn't just you. It was all golf courses.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
well.
happens in a situation like that? You can't just have every golf course goes under, no pun intended, but, you can't have every golf course go under, because then what do people do?
Yeah. No, in our case, we were able to make it through. I think we had to get a loan from one of the other owners, short-term loan.
Owners of the course.
Of the course,
Okay,
yeah.
so he just basically loaned money to, okay.
Right. There's 8 of us, and we have varying shares.
Yeah.
And one of them offered to help us get through this time, because we still have employees to pay, we still have chemicals to buy, we still have whatever to run a golf course.
Well, not to mention, if you don't actually own the property or whatever outright, you're having to still make loan payments.
Oh yeah, we still had our mortgage to pay.
Right, exactly,
Yep.
exactly. And taxes and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, taxes, they never go away for some reason.
So there's probably a whole lot more that goes into golf course management than I ever thought. And, it's a simple thing that I belonged to an association that they basically didn't want us anymore, because we used to go out at 7:15, a shotgun start. We all start like at the same time. And the problem is they said, well, gee, we have to get all our guys in to start cutting the greens at 5 a.m.
Yep.
So now, do you guys cut the greens every day?
I don't know if they cut them every day, and of course it depends on the time of year, it depends on how much moisture you're getting and how fast they're growing. So you may not, we're kind of in dry conditions right now, so they may not have
Which
to
is
cut 'em
amazing.
as much.
It's May.
It is, yeah. April showers, spring May flowers,
Yeah,
and
but
all
we
that
didn't have much
stuff.
in the form of
we
April.
Didn't have, yeah. We're in basically drought conditions now.
Are we
could
really?
use a
I didn't
little
know.
bit of rain, but yeah, they of course they cut the grass. They get out on one right away, and then they go,
Try to stay ahead of everybody.
They stay ahead of everybody.
Right.
A shotgun start, they're going to have to set up the course the day before in order to do that.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
they would have to cut everything the day before and try to work around golfers at that time. You don't like to have your grass cutters and stuff, but on the course during the weekends when you get the majority of your play. But during the week, they have to be out there cutting grass and taking care of the whole bunch of things they got to take care of.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, so how often is the pin placement changed? Is that done every day?
I think they do it every day, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all the greenskeeper. Corey's our greenskeeper. He decides all that. He decides cart path only. He comes out in the morning.
You got to protect the course.
You have to protect the course, yeah. Well, that's why they got rid of metal spikes years ago, because they found that people would get on the greens and at the cup they would turn, pick up their ball and then just spin with their foot in the ground, and that would rip up the that's one of the reasons they got rid of. Yeah.
I always thought that it was damaging the green. But when there's plastic spikes, I'm leaving these dents in the ground.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, wait a minute, this seems I'm actually aerating it. So how often do you aerate? Is that twice a year or once a year?
I think we do twice a year. We just did it April 5th of this year.
And that's all golf courses do it at the same time, right?
Well, in around the same time, yeah. We plug aerate the greens and the tees, and then they top dress it, and we haven't had much rain since then. And for the green to repair itself, it needs water and sun, and it hasn't been getting much water.
Yeah, but lately it hasn't been getting much sun either.
No, we've had some good days. I mean, that's not that much of a problem, but we could use a little bit more rain. We can water, but
you can water. How do you have an irrigation system of some sort?
We have irrigation systems. We can water all the greens. We just can't water all the fairways.
Okay. So. Okay. Well, it's not cheap to be installing those irrigation systems.
No.
And certainly when you have a year like you had in 2017, where you lose most of your revenue, a lion's share of it. I mean, as a percentage of your revenue, how much did you lose that year from normal?
That was probably 60% of it.
You lost 60.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. But now, I think you were telling me that right now, golf is more popular than it may have ever been.
Well, last year with the pandemic and everybody being restricted as to what you were allowed to do for any kind of fun or relaxation or anything, luckily our governor allowed us to open the courses in May. We lost all of April last year, and May 2nd was a Saturday. We had our biggest single play day in history.
Really?
And everybody had an urge to get out and do something. And we had a very good year last year, and a lot of it was because of the pandemic, and people were at home with not much to do. They weren't allowed to go to the movies, go out to eat, go do anything. No sporting events, no concerts, no nothing. But they were allowed to play golf, and we were fortunate enough to have them come down to Fox Hollow, and we had a great year last year.
Yeah, that's good. And not only that, but then people are getting acclimated to the course. I think the layout's terrific.
It's interesting. It was. I forget the gentleman's name that built it. I apologize for that, but the guy that owned it before my uncle Jack Eckenrode had bought it in '87, he built the course one hole at a time, and basically built 18 holes.
Really?
Yep.
That's interesting.
It was called Thunderbird at that time.
All right, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know what else is interesting? We're out of time.
Yeah. What, a half hour just flew by.
Yeah, doesn't it? You know what? I kind of blew it. We talked too much about the boring stuff called work, and didn't leave ourselves enough time to talk about golf.
I hope some kids, if kids watch these shows, I hope they, we could use some surveyors. As surveyors, it's not many people go into that field.
Well, you know what? So I mean, it doesn't require an education. I don't take that's the wrong way, but you don't need a college education to become a surveyor, do you?
Not yet in Pennsylvania, but that's coming. You can still go in under the 10-year experience rule. Yeah.
To become a PLS.
To become a PLS.
Right, but that doesn't mean you can't be a surveyor. I mean, it's like a trade.
No.
It's like a trade, if you will.
Right. A lot of kids get into it and kind of fall into it in construction companies because a construction company doesn't want to pay a private surveyor, so he needs somebody to help him, and he'll have one of his guys start doing it.
Right.
That's good at math. As long as you're good at math, you can be a decent surveyor.
It's really not that hard, but you're right. I did know when I was doing it.
It's extremely difficult.
Yeah, I see that. I can tell.
I could tell you.
Yeah, right. I'm sure. Exactly. So anyway, well, thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we could have talked about golf longer than that, but
next time I'll come a little earlier.
It didn't help much for the show, but
oh well.
Anyway, I thank you for joining us this week. As you can tell, we have fun with this show. I'd like to have spent more time in the golf course management, but hey, that's the way it goes. I kind of split it in two. Surveying's cool stuff too. Certainly, I learned a few things as it pertains to the whole construction process. But anyway, I hope everyone has a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next week on the show of Financial Planning Explained. And I'm your host, Mike Menninger, certified financial planner. Hope you have a great time and have a great week. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in.